In life, we all encounter obstacles, and those obstacles come in all different shapes, sizes, and forms. The question is, how do we handle those obstacles? Do we attack them head on, or do we allow them to make us quit? Welcome to the No Quit Living podcast, where we aim to motivate and inspire listeners to never give up on themselves, their dreams, or their goals. We will interview successful people from all walks of life as they share their no-quit stories when they had the choice to give up or give in, but they didn't. We hope you find our episodes inspiring, motivating, positive, and thought-provoking. We thank you for listening, and we hope to be that jolt of positivity as you go for your greatness. Welcome to episode number 95 of the No Quit Living podcast. I'm your host, Christopher J. Worth, and today's theme of the day is grit. Our quote of the day comes to us from Angela Duckworth. Gritty people have a growth mindset. When bad things happen, they don't give up. It is my pleasure to bring you today's episode. Our guest is a gentleman by the name of Dayne Gingrich that has a great no-quit story. In addition to sharing a ton of value on today's episode, I had such an awesome time connecting with Dayne. His definition of success, I thought, was spot on. He defines success as outlasting the struggle and how you maneuver through the hard stuff. I believe you will really enjoy today's episode. Dayne, I'd like to welcome you to the No Quit Living podcast.
Christopher, I appreciate you having me, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you spend some time with us. So the first question...
Absolutely, man.
Awesome. So the first question we ask everybody is, are you ready to bring it today?
It sounds like a trick question. Hell yes. Let's go.
You know, I've done over 100 interviews and only one person has said no. So it is, I think, a trick question.
So, did you continue the convo though?
Yeah, no, he was really honest and candid, and it was really cool. And he just said, I'd be lying if I said I was, ready to bring it. He said it's just one of those days, but he definitely brought a good episode, which was the best part.
Good.
So the number one objective of our show is to motivate and inspire our listeners to never give up. I was curious if you had either a personal story of perseverance or perhaps a challenging time that tested you, but you kept on going and you didn't quit.
Oh, baby, do I? And I think, right, and I think everybody has their story, right? Everybody has their pain in their go through moment. The question is, will we face the go through moment with the courage needed, right? Because everybody gets the struggle. So I know with like the obvious, this is such an obvious answer. 10 and a half years ago, I made some serious suicide plans, right? And long story short, I was played professional tennis, and then I taught it for 12 years and was kind of out of that world. But while I was teaching, and I started creating this mental performance business on the side, right? But it was just still a side hustle. It wasn't like my full-time gig. So I thought, hey, this is easy. Like, I got instant clients. Let's go. Let's make this happen full-time. So I quit the easy peasy tennis on court gig and prematurely launched my mental performance business, and quickly learned the hard way that pain was coming, money was leaving, and struggle was there to stay. And 10 and a half years ago, so I'm guessing a year and a half in, dude, I just lost it. I lost all the money I saved. Relationship with my wife was tough, right? But the pain of starting the business without understanding what it took, because I was an athlete, I was an entrepreneur. I had a certain skill set, and I believe I had a gift of really being able to teach people, and specifically on the mental performance piece. I knew I had it. I had the thing, but I had the business side. So when the business side came knocking and I didn't have an answer, I just didn't know what to do. And it got so bad, I was going to end it all, man. So, fighting through that struggle to continue going on is an awesome lesson that I use today, because what we do today, and no quit living, right? Like, this is what it is. It's about facing that struggle and all those obstacles and finding a way to say, hell no, dude, you're not winning today. Fear's not winning. Doubt's not winning. Suicide plans, you ain't winning either. And so I got through that, and 10 and a half years later, man, we're rolling.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, and I totally appreciate your candor, because that is probably
a tough story. And, one of the best parts about doing these podcasts is the fact that we get to connect with so many different people, and so many people have their story. A lot of people actually say, well, which story do you want me to share, Chris? Because I have about 10 or 15 of them. And the reality is that it's not what happens to you. It's not the challenges. It's not if and when you're going to fall on your face, because everybody does. A question and the challenge is, who stands by you, and do you give up on yourself? Do you give up on your dreams? Do you keep going? And obviously, you had a tough time 10 and a half years ago, but it's led you to where you are today, which is incredibly successful in your field. So I commend you, obviously, for continuing that and keep going with what you're doing. So if you wouldn't mind, give our listeners the quick 30-second synopsis of who you are and what your performance business is.
So you said 30 seconds because you know what I can do. 30 seconds can turn into 30 minutes. So you know that. I love how you did that. So I was a former professional tennis player turned tennis coach, now turned mental performance coach, which means I help primarily athletes, right? But I work with entrepreneurs and sales staff reach whatever their peak performance is, primarily through the power of their mindset, right? Whatever that means to them internally, reaching their success goals and visions. We do it all through the power that we have upstairs.
No, I had to give that 30-second intro just because sometimes people like to go on and all of a sudden it doesn't turn into an interview, it turns into a monologue. So I appreciate you for keeping 30 seconds or less.
Absolutely, man. It's passion.
If you had to define yourself in one word, what would that word be?
Whoo! Wow. Gritty. There's a lot of one where the first word came. I'll be honest. I think I was trying to be cool with gritty. I'll just be honest. Gritty, but going through it, the first word was passionate. Like, I just want to come with fire and passion, because when you're helping people, right, you want to set an emotional state within them also, right, so that they can start creating and getting through whatever they're going through. So passionate for sure, but I'll tell you what, man, if you don't have that fight and grit, it doesn't matter how passionate you are, you'll eventually quit.
All right, well, I said one word, so you used five or six. So we're going to give you a foot fault, and you're going to have a penalty warning.
That's awesome.
So how do you personally define success?
So success to me is outlasting the struggle that comes, finding a way through pain, through all the obstacles. Success isn't the top of the mountain to me. It's not how much money you have. It's not the car you drive. It's not the goal. It's not reaching the goal. Instead, I believe success is how you maneuver through all the day-to-day stuff, right? And not the easy stuff, because everybody can do the easy. But success to me is finding a way when you don't feel like it to do it anyways, right? Because if you can create those habits within, then anything you want, anything you said at the top, regardless of what it is or how insane people think it is, if you can get through and learn how to redefine success is loving everything about the climb, then you can have anything you want at the top.
No, I like that. And that's a question that we ask almost every single guest. And almost every single person has their own unique definition, which is really neat when you get to share that with the listeners. So I truly appreciate your perspective. And you were very clear. That's not about money or about a car. And it's not about when everything's going great, because anybody can do great things when everything's going perfect. It's what happens when it's not going great. And I really appreciate that. And it probably is something that you deal with in your business all the time as well.
Daily.
So one of the things we're looking to do is always add value to our listeners. And I was curious if you have either a personal morning or daily ritual that you swear by.
I think this is critically important, actually, Christopher, and I think without question you need one. So absolutely every single morning, and I'm a routine guy, probably coming from the athletic field. I wake up before the sun, 4 to 4:30, and first off, I give gratitude. I have gratitude. Thanks to be a lot. Like I just say thanks, right? I say thanks to the creator. I just say thanks. So first and foremost, I don't do anything without being grateful for this next opportunity, right? And then I'll spend 15 to 25 minutes meditating. In my way, I close my eyes and I just focus on my breath and I just get clear. And that's without exception every single day. And then my feet, and I do that in bed. Then my feet hit the ground and I'll go in my living room and turn on ESPN and I'll do a 40 to 45 minute core workout. My knees are so beat up I can't run anymore. So I'm an old guy. So I go and I do my core workout. I don't touch my phone. I don't look at emails. And when that core workout is over, then that's almost, hour and a half ish. And then I'll start, and then I'll put on the coffee and maybe open up the phone. It's critically important, in my opinion, that the way you start your day is how the day will go.
I love that. I interviewed somebody a couple weeks ago, and they said something almost identical, which is if you win your morning, you win your day.
Yes.
And I love
100%.
Not that I didn't like your answer or what you do first, but what really stood out to me was something that's actually, it's been spoken about probably 4 or 5 times in the last month or two, is the importance of not checking your phone, your email, your tablet, your Instagram, your Facebook, and the reason being is it puts you in a reactive state. And I never really understood that or thought about it. It probably wasn't until the 4th or 5th time that a guest actually mentioned that, and I realize now that myself, I'm guilty of turning my phone on. And when you turn your phone on or you turn your tablet on, you're not doing it to be proactive. You're indirectly and directly doing it to be reactive. And I just think what you said is so amazing, because it's so simple, but if we all do it or try to do it more often than not, we're going to have a much better chance of winning our day.
Yes, we're giving our power away, Christopher, right? When we open our phone and tablet to check on what other people need from us, we're giving our own personal power away. Taking control of how we want our day to go starts with saying, I'm not opening that thing. And it's a self-discipline thing that slowly creates confidence too.
No, I like that, self-discipline, and it does create confidence. And I know there's different sciences behind, and different tech people talk about different numbers, but I think once you do it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a row, it almost becomes habitual, and then it just becomes something that you do each and every day. And when you don't do it, or you do it differently, that's when you say, whoa, this morning or this day doesn't feel as good.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly said.
So assuming the 20-year-old version of yourself would have listened, what would be the one piece of advice you would like to have given your 20-year-old self?
Work freaking harder, idiot. That's it. Like I would have worked my face off as I did in my, starting this silly little business, right? I had a lot of physical talent athletically, and I thought I could just live up, just succeed on a physical talent. That's an easy one, right? That's an easy one. I didn't do what I know now, right? You only know what you know. And I didn't have someone pushing and grinding and trying to squeeze out every last ounce of success from me. So, tell a 20-year-old, hey, just do what you do what feels right. Most 20-year-olds are just going to listen to their feelings, and that means listening to comfort and safety. So I would have risked more. I would have stepped out of comfort every single day, and I would have worked until I freaking could not take another breath. That's an easy one. Easy.
I like it, and I probably should have taken that advice as well.
Yeah.
If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Wow. Send me some prep questions. No, I'm just joking. Dead or alive? You know what, man? And I would really love to sit across from MLK. I would really love to sit across from Martin Luther King Jr. and just pick his brain about the courage that it took to do what he did, and everyone before him and after him, because I'm just fascinated, because as it links into success on the athletic field, it takes so much courage and doing the things most people just wouldn't do. And I get it on the athletic side, but over here on this other side, when it literally meant, and he knew it meant his life, if he continued to speak out, if he continued to stand up in the face of ignorance, right? If he continued to do it, he knew the outcome was going to be his life. And I would love to just tap into that and have him articulate to me like how. And I think I know his answer is the long-term purpose, right, and the legacy and what was to come. But I would have loved to just stare in his eyes and just feel his energy and his power behind that. That actually gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
And that would be quite an interesting dinner. And I think what you said is really interesting in the fact that, in sports and business, we make decisions that affect wins and losses and sometimes careers or jobs and money and bonuses and those things. And not that those things are not important in any way, shape, or form, because they clearly are. But there's a very significant difference versus that and a decision that you make that know is probably going to cost you not only your life, but potentially your family's life. And like you said before, it's just the word legacy with MLK really stands out.
Yeah. So what a leader, right? As you're talking about entrepreneurship and business, you talk leadership all the time here on your podcast, especially it's making those decisions, those brutally difficult decisions, right? When it's the most unpopular, and obviously you're not going to lose your life, but that leadership ability to make the most brutally tough decision when that the majority of people may disagree with you. I just think that's amazing.
Decisions when everything's easy and fun and happy, those are the easy ones to make, right? It's when and I don't think anybody can prepare for the other. So I appreciate you sharing, and that would definitely have been quite a dinner.
Yeah.
So we're going to change lanes here for a minute, and we're going to switch over to what we call our hot seat questions. So very simply, we'd like you to just answer the first thing that comes to mind.
God help me.
Are you ready?
No. So I'll be honest. I'll say no. I'm not ready.
All right. Well,
here we go.
Too bad you have to be. So right. I'm serving 130 mile an hour serve right up the tee, so you better be ready.
I just hit my backhand past you, homie. You just lost that point.
I don't know about that. All right. If you knew you had only one last meal, what would you choose for your last meal?
Filet, bacon wrapped.
Favorite sport?
Basketball.
Ooh. Favorite team?
Lakers.
All-time favorite movie?
Oh, man. Forrest Gump was the first movie I ever bought. There's so many good ones. I'll say Forrest Gump.
Run, Forrest, run.
That sounds just so tacky. There's so many amazing movies. I could have said Selma. I could have said anything.
Sorry, you said for the rest of your life it'll always be Forrest Gump.
Oh my gosh.
Favorite book?
Think and Grow Rich.
Great book.
Changed the game for me.
Favorite singer or band?
Oh man. God. So I got to do the first. The first thing that came into my head was U2.
Great band. If you were stuck in a foxhole and you could only pick one person to have in there and have your back, who would it be?
My wife. My wife's got my back, man. If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be sitting here, man. She's freaking. Like, I don't know if that sounds cheesy. I don't know if it's because Valentine's Day is coming up, but like I just no way I could pick somebody else. There are a lot of tough people, but nobody's tougher than my wife, and she's had my back for 16 years.
That's awesome, man. You're a lucky dude.
Yeah.
So that was pretty painless. So now wanted to ask you if you have any parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners.
So whether it's business, whether entrepreneurship, whether it's athletics, I think, listen, like pain is coming. And I always say there's power in the pain. And on a beautiful sunny day, rainbows and Skittles, that's not going to get you to another level, right? It is all about, and no quit living, right? What does that mean? It means endure and outlast the time it takes, regardless of how long it takes, regardless of how painful it is. Because I know, right, Christopher, your audience, they're going through it, right, every day. And I heard one of your recent shows. His question is like, as an entrepreneur, it's every day. That's the toughest day is every day. So I would say success is coming, but your character has to be tested, and you have to commit every single day to outlast the time it takes, right? Because it's not physicality. It's not how big and fast and quick and strong you are. It's not about mommy and daddy's DNA. It's about something inside of you that just won't quit. Something inside of you that just won't stop because you're tapped into a deeper purpose, hopefully a purpose bigger than self, right? So for me, I always I don't go to the happy place. I go to the painful, the dark place, because that's where everybody, if you're striving for something huge, Christopher, that's something I can guarantee is going to happen, right? The bigger, the riskier, the scarier, the darker that spot is going to be. So when that spot happens, before it happens, accept that it's coming and commit that you will outlast the time and the struggle regardless of what it feels like.
Now, it's some great advice. And for those listeners of ours that would like to either connect with you or follow you, what's the best way for them to do so?
Come on over, stop at my site, coachdayne.com, has Dayne, and all of my social handles are there. I'm Twitter at Coach Dayne, Facebook, Snap, Instagram, everywhere. But head on over to my site. Would love to chat.
Awesome. Well, listen, Dayne, I truly appreciate, not only was it a fun interview, but you shared some really interesting stuff with us. I appreciate your candor, and I just love some of the advice that you shared, and I hope that our listeners take it to heart, and more importantly, hopefully that they will connect with you and check out your sites and or your different social media handles and connect with you also.
Hey, Christopher, man, I really, first off, appreciate you having me on, and second off, love the message you're sending. I think no quit. Like, talent is easy, but sticking within it during all of the difficult times, no quit living, that's how you reach the top.
Thank you for listening to episode number 95. It's tough not to be inspired or motivated after listening to Dayne. I know I personally took a lot of notes myself during our interview. Dayne spoke about something that relates to business, sports, relationships, and life in general. He mentioned how there is power in the pain and why it is so important to outlast that pain. When I asked Dayne about his morning or daily ritual, he was another guest that stressed the importance of how you start your day gives you a huge advantage towards winning the day. He also was very clear that he does not check his phone or emails at all early or first thing in the morning. In his no-quit story, Dayne briefly spoke about his suicidal thoughts and the financial despair he put his family through over 10.5 years ago. When I asked him if he was stuck in a foxhole, what one person would he choose to have his back? Without hesitation, it was his wife. Now, 10.5 years later, Dayne hasn't given up, he hasn't given in, and his business and personal life are both thriving. In today's call to action, I challenge each and every one of you to look at who is in your corner. Are they really and truly in your corner? And do they honestly have your back? In life, the people we let on our bus have a huge impact on our daily lives. We clearly can't control everyone and how they both think and act, but if people are not fully supportive of you and your goals, it's perfectly okay to move on. The flip side is that you need to make sure that you have other people's best interest at heart, and if and when people look at you, they truly know that you are 100% in their corner. So be that positive force today for yourself and others, as you go for your greatness and help others go for theirs. And lastly, to our listeners, thank you. We truly appreciate your time, and we hope our episodes inspire you to keep on attacking life and never giving up. To quote Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, it's always too early to quit.